Great peace, great peace, great peace, Yakoki. So they're having this conversation about the term black. And I'm not understanding what the problem is with the term outside of the fact that it was discompounded in English grammar as the centuries turn from blackamoor to blackness to black to bleak to bleach to blanche to amour to move. Basically, that's been the terminology use of it since it's evolved in the ninth century. So when you look at the etymology of the term black, right, and you see that it's used with blackamoor, and you see that the term is basically verbiage that includes different origins, where you have English and its use in law would be community and also civil law. But again, when you look at the word black and you see like what does it really mean, right? You see that it has two uses. It also has two meanings. It has interjection use, verb use, adjective use, and noun use. But again, they're basically confused about why it's being used. And, I'm a person who looks at it like nothing is wrong with the word. It has its origin. So while it has its origin, you can't necessarily say it shouldn't be used. Again, when you look at the people who are complaining about the word black, they're descendants of Europeans. They want to be called Indians. They want to be called American Indians. They want to be called the Anunnaki. They want to be called all these things, but, to the fact where, the use of the word black is just not around, You even have some who want to be called Moors, right? They don't like them particularly. They don't like the word black, even with them knowing what it means. So you see there's, an appearance of falseness or false belief. Nothing is wrong with the word. Nothing is wrong with the word. Like, you can't sit there and say the word is somehow useless. Like, it doesn't have its application. It doesn't have its use in the regular context of conversation. We have to look at the colorism that's being used in America against the people of the land. The Aboriginal people, right? The people who look like me. We have to look at that. When you look on the Mohawk flag and you see who's on there, it's someone who looks like me. But you would have Native Americans, right, who would say it's not a black person. You're not a part of this land. You're not a part of this tribe. You don't know this language. And then you look at their background, they're mostly Serbian, Russian, mestizo. Okay, let's Asian. Let's go on. They're also European, Eurasian. But you look at black people, they have no say in what words are to be used. They're not allowed to say the word black is an Aboriginal word, you know. So before we kind of look over and say, what is the right use of the words that we, have in our vocabulary, we have to look at the fact that how it's used in law. If you see a word that goes before the letter C and after the letter A, then if you read a law dictionary, A is the introduction to the planet. B is the introduction into marriage. C is the introduction to work. Okay? So never let anyone say, you shouldn't use the word, black. I think a person who says that they've been they've been mistaught, they've actually been mistaught. It's nothing wrong with the word, It's a word that has its tradition in, the antebellum South, you know what I mean? It's not their word, So confuse me right, confuse me wrong, I hope you learn something. Great peace, Yakoki.